Welcome everybody. Nice to see you all here. It's a big group tonight. And so tonight we're doing our Vajrasattva practice. So has anyone here not done any meditation at all? If you haven't, just stick up your hand. Looks like everybody has. So I'm just going to go straight into it. Let's just get into a sitting posture, sitting position. Just settle into it. Settle down your breath. Bring your mind inside. Bring your attention to your breath. And just breathing in and breathing out. So you want to think maybe, why are we here tonight? What are we doing? What do we hope to achieve? So we just think we're here doing our Vajrasattva practice. We're going to purify our mind, purify our negative karma, our negative seeds, so that we don't have to suffer in the future, and so that we can keep working on our minds, working on our way slowly, slowly towards enlightenment, so we can be of benefit to others. So that's our motivation. So let's just sit for a couple of minutes. Just settle into your meditation posture, your legs crossed, hands in the meditation mudra. Make sure your spine is long. I just heard the other day the Tai Chi people, rather than the piece of string I mentioned the other day, they think of a string of pearls. So you can imagine this string of pearls of light extending from your coccyx all the way up your spine, through the crown of your head, and just extending outwards. This string of pearls of light, just lengthening you, some space there in between your vertebrae. Relax your shoulders. Head slightly tipped forward. Relax your jaw, tip of the tongue on the roof of the mouth. And now just relax your scalp. Just let all those muscles go. And as you do this, just notice how much we hold tension in our head, in our scalp. Then just move down to your face. Relax all the muscles in your face. Your eyes, go to the back of your eyes. Relax your cheeks, your jaw, and your lips. And just move like this all the way down the body, down to the tips of your toes. And make sure you don't slump when you do that. Now just bring your attention to your nose, the base of the nose, and just notice as you're breathing in, this cool air coming in. And as you breathe out, this air is slightly warmer. And you may feel some sensation there at the base of the nose as you're breathing in and breathing out. And you will have thoughts. It's very hard to stop the thoughts. So just try not to judge whatever's arising. Anything happened today that was difficult or even happy, try not to judge it or have an opinion about it. Just let the thoughts be there. Let them come and go. Just observe them. And bring the mind back to the breath. So we're doing this purification practice in the context of the 4 opponent powers. So first of all, we're going to think, just remember that there is no negativity, nothing that we have done that cannot be purified. So that gives us some encouragement. We do have this practice, this technique to purify our negative karma. So the first of the 4 opponent powers is regret. So we sincerely regret from the depths of our heart anything we've done to harm any living being with our body, with our speech, anything we've done to any killing or stealing or sexual misconduct, lying, any harsh speech, kind of unkind words, any talking about people behind their back, or just gossiping on, rabbiting on about nothing. Just think of what we do with our mind as well. You know, any anger that has arisen out of jealousy, any grasping, attachment, or neediness. So you can think of specific instances or just anything in general, things that you can't remember. And don't judge them. Try not to feel guilty. The emotion we're bringing here is regret. It's a very healthy, down to earth, taking responsibility. I did this thing, I'm really sorry. I regret it. And the reason we regret it is not only because it harms others, but also because it harms ourselves. We don't want the suffering in the future. So we wonder sort of, okay, so what are we going to do about this? So then we get to the power of reliance. And the first part of this is refuge. So we rely upon and we turn to the Buddha, the doctor. In this case, it's Buddha Vajrasattva, to give us the methods to purify us, purify our negative karma. And we don't need the Buddha to forgive us. We're just using the methods that he's laid out to purify us. And by the way, you can do this practice with any of the Buddhas. You can do it with Chenrezig, you can do it with Tara, if you have more affinity with the female Buddhas. But tonight we're just using this Vajrasattva practice. So Matt, if you've got the image of Vajrasattva, can pop that up. So we're going to visualize, first of all, Vajrasattva on the crown of your head. And if you have a guru, you can imagine that he is your guru manifesting in this aspect that you can see on the screen now for your benefit. So rather than being this kind of solid thing, just imagine about 2 inches above the crown of your head, this beautiful, blissful Buddha made of radiant white light. So he's sitting cross-legged on a white lotus. In this case, it's a multicolored lotus. His face is radiant and beautiful. His eyes are long. They sort of often say lotus-like eyes. And they're full of love and compassion. And so when you can imagine that this Guru Vajrasattva is maybe looking at you. I mean, now he's on the crown of your head, but just imagine that if he was looking at you, complete acceptance, no judgment, absolutely accepting you for who you are. He knows everything about you, does not care, loves you anyway. So imagine a person like this in your life. It's incredible. So imagine that's this person on the crown of your head, just wishing to benefit you. So his mouth is red and very sweet. You can imagine that he's youthful, sort of like about a 16 or 17-year-old. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart. In this picture, they're not exactly crossed, but normally they say crossed at the heart, the left underneath the right. And so the left is holding a bell, which represents wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these two. So we say, to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. And so the second part of this, the actual practice, is compassion. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings. So we need to rely upon sentient beings. So in this case, the very beings we have harmed, and also the beings who have harmed us. We develop compassion for them. So you can bring up in front of you maybe a person that you may be, or a sentient being you may have harmed recently, and maybe in the past. Maybe think of sentient beings in general that you may have harmed that you don't even realize that you've harmed. And then remember those who have harmed you, and we can have compassion for them because in the future they're going to suffer for the harm that they've caused you. So we take a step back from the hurt that we've experienced and just feel kind of sorry, feel compassion for them because they're going to suffer in the future. So then we make a strong aspiration. I must purify my negative karma for their sake. And so now we get to the power of the remedy. So this is the actual medicine, doing the actual practice of purification. So now we're going to purify, first of all the negativities of our body. So the body, this is the first section of the 10 non-virtues. So there's 3 of the body. So as I mentioned earlier, killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct. So just imagine Guru Vajrasattva very compassionately, with a wish to really, really help us, sends powerful white nectar from his heart, and it kind of arcs around our crown and just pours into our body through the crown of our heads, filling us completely with this blissful, radiant nectar, kind of like having this shower, cleansing shower. And as it pours into us, from the bottom part of our body, all our lower orifices, kind of all the negative karma flows out of our body, flows out as black, oily, inky liquid, and then disappears into space. It doesn't pollute anything around us, just completely disappears. So we imagine this, we visualize this as we recite the mantra. So Matt, if you could bring the mantra up, that would be great too, so people can look at it. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mebeyatsa Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawa Sidi Mebeyatsa Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawa Sidi Mebeyatsa Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. And can you really stick an extra emphasis on the pe, according to Rinpoche? He says, spit it out, pe. So then be delighted that all the harm that we've ever done to any sentient being with our body is completely purified, and think that there is no way we could ever harm another sentient being with our body ever again. So next is a purification of our speech. So just reminding ourselves of this, there's these 4 aspects or 4 negativities of the speech: lying, speaking badly about others behind their back, rabbiting on about nothing, and harsh speech. So this time we imagine Guru Vajrasattva very compassionately from his heart sends out this unbelievable nectar, blissful, radiant, clear nectar, just arcing around and pouring into the crown of our head and filling our body. And as our body is filling up with this nectar, you can imagine that all the kind of dirt and muckiness from our negative speech flows to the top, and it floats out of the top of the crown of our head, doesn't touch or affect Vajrasattva on the crown of our head. So just imagine all the negativities of our speech flowing out of the crown of our head or our upper orifices as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawa Siddhi Mepe Yatsa Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Hoa Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajraba Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawa Siddhi Mepe Yatsa Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Hoa Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajraba Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawa Siddhi Mepe Yatsa Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Hoa Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. And so now feel completely happy that all our speech, all our negative speech is completely purified. And just think we're never going to be able to do anything to harm another sentient being by lying and confusing them, by talking about them behind their back, by speaking roughly towards them, hurting them that way, or by just boring them to death by gossiping and carrying on about nothing. How amazing. And then we're purifying our mind. So when we do this particular visualization, just imagine from Guru Vajrasattva's heart, blissful, radiant, white light, kind of again, just sort of arcs around. And it comes into us through our crown. And just imagine the minute it hits our heart, this brilliant light, all the negativities of our mind are dispelled. So LAMA YESHE says it's a bit like when you go into a dark room and you switch on a light, the darkness is instantly dispelled. So you can imagine that with all our, our jealousy, our anger, and ill will, any feelings of depression or anxiety, self-doubt, all of these things, they just harm us. And these negative thoughts, they just lead us to harm, do actions that harm others. So just imagine this brilliant white light just blasting away all the negative karmas in our mind as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawa Siddhi Mepe Yatsa Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Hoa Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Supokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawa Siddhi Mempe Yatsa Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Supokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawa Siddhi Mempe Yatsa Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. And now just be completely delighted that all our delusions, which are the source of our own suffering and the cause for us harming others, are completely purified and gone, finished. And think now there is no space in our hearts for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom, compassion and bliss. And now we purify even the imprints of negativity of body, speech, and mind. So they say it's almost like sort of eradicating the smell of garlic from a jar. It's almost like, you know, when you press into your palm with your finger, it leaves a slight indent. So it just kind of like wipes everything away as if it was never there. So this time we imagine, and we're going to try and imagine those 3 visualizations all at once. It's a bit complicated, so just do the best we can. So the light coming, so nectar coming down and all the negativities flowing out the bottom of the body, the light coming down and negativities of the speech flowing out of the top of the head, and then the light coming in and blasting all the negativities of our mind as we recite the mantra. So it's all going to be happening at once. And if it's difficult to imagine all of that happening at once, we can just visualize just blasting ourselves with white light and even the imprints disappearing. Okay. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Supokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawa Siddhi Mempe Yatsa Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Supokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawa Siddhi Mempe Yatsa Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Supokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawa Siddhi Mempe Yatsa Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. So now feel we're completely purified, not one atom of negativity left in our mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to omniscience have been removed. So these are obstacles that prevent us from moving forward and developing our mind. All removed. So now the 4th opponent power is a power of resolve. So we make a determination. We're not going to be able to never harm with our body, speech, and mind ever again. So we just think of something for a minute here. Just think of maybe something we'd like to work on between now and tomorrow, or between now and the next time we do this practice together, or someone does it with us. Could be something of the speech, a specific thing. And if it's something that's particularly difficult, like, say, for example, a habit like biting our fingernails or something like that, just think for 30 seconds, I will not bite my fingernails. If your habit is to talk about people behind their back or gossip, you think to yourself, from the time I go to bed tonight until the time I wake up tomorrow morning, I will not talk about anybody behind their back. And you won't, because you will be asleep. So think of something reasonable. We don't lie to ourselves. Sort of make a vow. I'm going to do this for 5 minutes or 1 hour or 1 day. And keep it simple. Something that's achievable. And then think, Guru Vajrasattva is delighted with us. So we can just think this blissful Buddha on the crown of our head, so happy with us, wanting to merge with our mind. He melts into this blissful, radiant white light and absorbs into us through our crown. So here we think, my Guru's body, if we have a teacher, my Guru's body, my Guru's speech, my Guru's mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech and mind, and my own body, speech and mind become the same thing. LAMA YESHE used to call this union oneness. So we just meditate like this. And if you have an understanding of emptiness, have listened to any teachings on emptiness, you can think, as Rinpoche says, recommends meditate on the emptiness of 3 circles. In emptiness, there is no I, no creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. And there is no negative karma created. We just try and think of all phenomena as empty. And one way to think about this is that things don't really exist in the way we think they do. And that's just enough to start with. And so now we dedicate the merit, all this positive energy we've created this evening by doing this purification. We dedicate to all living beings, thinking, may all the virtuous karma I have created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So Matt, do we have some prayers there? Oh, the 4 immeasurables, where are they? Okay, 4 immeasurable thoughts. Immeasurable equanimity. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings were to abide in equanimity, free from the closeness of attachment and the distance of hatred. May they abide in equanimity. I myself will cause them to abide in equanimity. Please, Guru Deity, bless me to be able to do this. Next one. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings were to achieve Buddhahood. May they achieve Buddhahood. I myself will cause them to achieve Buddhahood. Please, Guru Deity, bless me to be able to do this. Next one. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings were free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they be free from suffering and its causes. I myself will cause them to be free from suffering and its causes. Please, Guru Deity, bless me to be able to do this. And the last one, how wonderful it would be if all sentient beings were never separated from the happiness of higher rebirth and liberation. May they never be separated from these. I myself will cause them never to be separated from these. Please, Guru Deity, bless me to be able to do this. Okay, so we'll just do one of these because we're again 1 minute over. As a result of the 3 times merits of myself and others, may bodhicitta, from which the happiness of all sentient beings comes, be generated in the minds of self and other sentient beings without delay for even 1 second, and that which has been generated, may it increase. So let's do His Holiness's long life prayer. The wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, to the incomparably kind Tenzin Gyatso I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. Then Lama Zopa Rinpoche, You who uphold the subduer's moral way, who serves as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjana's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplished magnificent prayers, honoring the three jewels, savor of myself and others, your disciples, please, please live long. I think we have Lama Ursuls there. Venerable One, to you whose kindness exceeds that of all the conquerors, for those wanderers in far-off places, especially the West, mindful of your loving concern for us and intentionally descending again into a family of a far distant land, we make this request. O Lama, please, please live long. Okay. So now we can go to bed with a happy mind, have a good sleep. Thank you so much, everybody. It's so lovely to see you all. Thank you very much. Thank you, Charmaine and Matt and all the people there, and Shankar.
Thank you so much.
Good night.